Just always wanted to hear that whole song. I just wasn't quite ready to go on the air. Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's 7 minutes after the hour, Thursday morning already, and the 1st of February. And we've got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. In fact, we've got some big news we're going to cover today on more than one topic, okay? There's some really big news. I'm going to start with the James O'Keefe story because that's just amazing. But after the James O'Keefe story, Fox News just did something just despicable yesterday, and they're continuing it today. And I'm going to get to that after we're done talking about James O'Keefe. And the James O'Keefe story, I did look at Fox because this one story regarding Fox that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, I turned over to Fox to see, one, if they had the James O'Keefe story, and two, if they were still doing what I'm going to talk about in just a bit about them. And no, they have not aired the James O'Keefe story. And yes, they are putting fake news out there on the air, and I will expose that in just a bit. But anyway, James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe is one of the greatest living journalists of our time. He released something yesterday which may be James O'Keefe's biggest news drop since, well, his first one that made him famous with the Acorn scandal all those years ago when Obama was president. And this was just a beautiful thing. And James O'Keefe, you know, he doesn't get coverage anymore in places like Fox News because, well, they're establishment, state-controlled media, and they don't want the truth out there. And also, he makes the rest of the media look bad. And I'm so glad that he did this new story he has, which he only released part one, and you're going to hear after the first break. I'll play audio of it. But he's going to have more today, and throughout the next week, he's going to have all kinds of stories breaking. And I'm glad he did, because he's got his new media operation going on now, James O'Keefe, his James O'Keefe Media Group. And he does such great work. He really needs a big, meaningful story to kick off this thing after what the evildoers did with him at Project Veritas. So I'm glad this happened. And what James O'Keefe did, he did an undercover sting of a top senior White House staffer. And, what's interesting about it, which I just blew my mind, is that James O'Keefe himself did the undercover sting. As famous as he is, certainly in Washington, D.C., he doesn't really do the undercover stuff too much anymore. He did in the beginning. He did the Acorn stuff, and before that, he worked with Lila Rose, who did some amazing work. He was involved in that, and he was mentored, of course, by the great late Andrew Breitbart. But James O'Keefe has become so well known that he doesn't do the undercover work himself. He has other people do it. But this time, he did. And what he did is he put up a gay dating profile, and he got a date with a senior White House cyber official whose name is Charlie Krager. He's the cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs desk officer at the White House, okay? The Biden White House. And he set up a date at this restaurant with this guy. I know, isn't that something? In the old days, just the fact that a man who was a senior staffer at the White House having a date with another man wasn't that long ago. That in itself would be the scandal, but that's not even scandalous or news anymore because things have changed so much. But he got this guy to admit all kinds of things on camera, and James O'Keefe didn't even really put on a disguise. He wore some glasses and dyed his hair. And the guy didn't recognize him, and he went in there and did it. And I'm very surprised that James O'Keefe personally did this, because this guy gave so much great information, insider information of what's going on inside the Biden White House, that it was kind of risky for him, James O'Keefe, to do this undercover investigative journalist sting on his own, because if the guy would have recognized him, it would have been over. But the guy didn't recognize him. And when James O'Keefe took off his glasses, I saw someone put a meme on Twitter about this. Early this morning, I saw this. James O'Keefe, he takes off his glasses, and then the guy realizes what happened. And it's still, he was James O'Keefe with the glasses on. When he took them off, it was the same guy. It was not really a disguise, but I saw this video meme today, and it was Christopher Reeve's Superman from Superman 2 taking off his glasses in front of Margot Kidder's Lois Lane, and she's like, "You're Superman," without the glasses, right? You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous, isn't it? But it was kind of like that. But this is huge, and I'll share the audio after the break, and I'll also read to you the transcript of the audio, because it is an undercover sting video. I think I'll, I don't know, should I read it first and then play the audio, or play the audio first and then read it? I think if I read it first, the parts of it that are difficult to hear, I think you'll be able to pick up if I read it first. So I'll read through the transcript of some of it first, then I'll play the audio. And James O'Keefe, he's the one that should be getting Pulitzer Prizes, not these fake news journalists with their Russia hoax stories. Those prizes should be taken back for those Russia hoax people. James O'Keefe is amazing. And this story really should be the lead story in all the mainstream news today, but it won't. It should have been the lead story in the evening news last night, but it will not be. But that's okay, because the mainstream television cable news, it's over. Their dominance is over. They're really not players. So we'll get to that after this break. No. I had to take the break abruptly because I had that sneeze coming. I wasn't ready for the break, but the sneeze was coming. The air just popped on over my head. So, the sneeze was coming. James O'Keefe is absolutely amazing. Now, I put a GoFundMe link at the top of the chat. Help baby Luca. Luca, they are... the father of Luca is Mike Arbordop's best friend, and if you go there, I mean, my goodness, it's just a sad story here. Baby Luca, newborn, has a lot of health issues. If you click the link, you'll see, and if you're able to help baby Luca and baby Luca's family, please do. And if you could also share that GoFundMe link on all your socials, that'd be greatly appreciated, too, if you don't mind. If you could also, that sneeze was coming. I'm like, I gotta take that break quick. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone, please like the video as well. Yeah. So I'm going to start with this James O'Keefe story, but I got some other big stuff too that I'll get into as the show goes on. I knew the sneeze was coming. That's why I didn't read through the James O'Keefe thing before, because I knew I wouldn't be able to get through it. Even though it was one sneeze, you don't know it's going to be one sneeze, and I didn't want to be in the middle of a segment and start sneezing like crazy. Boy, oh boy. Oh yeah, the cable news media they're dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs now. They're irrelevant. They're on the verge of total extinction. The nightly news already is extinct. You know, it's unrelated, but these two stories I have today really show you why the mainstream media is going extinct. Listen in the pump. 9 FM and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It is 16 minutes after the hour, first day of February. It's Black History Month. That's right. So James O'Keefe, who saved America with his Acorn story that he did with Obama. You know, Acorn was a very bad organization, and when the 2010 census was coming up, Obama was going to have Acorn handle the entire census of the United States. And the census is how the federal government does everything. It's how congressional districts are set up, not just the federal ones, but your local state representatives, government expenditures. So much of it, so much of what the government does is based on the census. And Acorn is just, they wouldn't take an accurate census. They're terrible people. And James O'Keefe, for those that don't remember, he got together with this girl. He dressed up as a pimp. She dressed up as a prostitute. And they did undercover stings going to Acorn offices from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere in between. And he wore his grandmother's mink coat. It was crazy. It was nuts. And the girl that he was working with that was dressed as a prostitute, oh my goodness, she looked like a streetwalker out of a movie. It was insane. And they went to these Acorn offices and told them that they wanted to set up brothels with underage prostitutes, and could they help? And every single Acorn office in America that they went to offered to help set up their underage brothel. It's crazy. And when he was done, he released it, and that was it. Acorn was done. They lost the census. It was so big of a story that Obama had to take the census away from Acorn. So James O'Keefe saved us all with that, and that is not an understatement. I mean, that is a 100% accurate statement. And those of you who remember that story when it happened, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It kind of looked like, he looked like a pimp. That's it. That's all we need to know. So let's get to the thing today. So James O'Keefe, he set up a gay dating profile. I guess was it Tinder, Grindr, one of those dating apps. And he put up a fake profile that he was a gay man looking, to meet another gay man. And the top White House cybersecurity official responded and set up a date. And James O'Keefe, he had hidden microphone and camera on him, and then his crew was nearby filming from another angle as well. What I'm going to read to you now is from James O'Keefe's Twitter. He tweeted this, Twitter X, and then I'll play the video. There's a partial transcript here that I'll read. And the reason is these undercover sting videos, they're not talking into the mic as clearly as this. He should really hire Carrie Lake, because Carrie Lake's undercover sting video with the bribe, that was like the best audio. I didn't have to do any processing or anything. On this audio, I did some processing to make it as loud as I can without distortion when I play it. But still, some of it's a little difficult to understand, but I think when I read through this, you'll be able to understand it, okay? So let me just read James O'Keefe's tweet. Breaking video, top White House cybersecurity official tells O'Keefe in disguise they can't say it publicly. The White House wants to replace Kamala Harris and confirms President Joe Biden's mental decline. I'm just telling you what I've heard. They're really concerned about it. This is the official to James O'Keefe. I think they need to get rid of him or her. But no one in modern history has said, we're not going to renominate the president for a second term. Charlie Krager, a cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs desk officer in the executive office at the White House, tells O'Keefe, quote, I had a meeting with Michelle Obama. Someone asked her, will you ever run for office? And she said, no. She was like, I've seen the blank my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me. He went on to say, Kamala Harris is hemorrhaging black staff. She can't keep black staff. They quit on her en masse. And then he goes on to say she will be the vice president nominee. There was a debate about removing her, Kamala, from the ticket. But sadly, they didn't. This is the official. She's not popular, but you can't remove the first black lady to be vice president from the, he said the GD word, which I'm not going to use, presidential ticket. What kind of message are you going to send to, African-American voters? People would be like, what the blank? That's the F word. I put a bleep when I play the audio. She's a woman, and she's multiracial. Oh, my goodness. So let me play the audio here and I got two clips. This is James. First, I'll play James O'Keefe's introduction, and well, I won't do the introduction because I think I did enough of the introduction. Let me just play James O'Keefe talking to the guy, because where I have him actually talking to the guy, I know the bleep is there. It may not be in the one that's on his Twitter, so I don't want to take a chance. Okay, here we go. This is James O'Keefe. He's undercover. He's got the glasses on. He dyed his hair. He's on a date with a gay guy, or so the gay guy thinks, and he's really running an undercover sting.
So you're pretty high up in the government.
Yeah, I'm fairly high up. I'm good at keeping secrets, and so I manage two federal agencies, the State Department and USAID.
So when you say security, like you're protecting
The networks of the federal agencies. You give all your information to them.
the mission is to protect information.
We are like the president's employees when we go into meetings in terms of discussing and promoting the president's priorities.
Is he going to be the nominee?
Yes. And she will be the vice president nominee.
Yeah.
There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they didn't.
She can't keep wax now. They quit on her in May.
But with him,
Yeah, I know.
he's got dementia.
He's definitely slowing down.
They know that he has those issues.
I think so.
They're not going to say
It shows it. And
They're not going to say it publicly.
and same thing with
Why not?
Kamala Harris. She's not popular, but you can't remove black lady to be vice president from the goddamn presidential ticket. Like, what kind of message are you going to send to, like, African American voters? How would you spin that? People would be like, what the f***? Like, she's a woman and she's multiracial. I think that they're really concerned about it.
But they won't say it. I guess if they say it publicly,
Correct.
Biden is they can't say it publicly.
No, they got
They
to
say
put
it
the line.
privately, but they won't say it publicly.
Correct.
Biden is they can't say it publicly.
No, they got to
They
put the
say it
line.
privately.
I'm just telling you what I've heard. Like,
You're just telling me the truth.
does it make sense? No, but that's what I've heard. I've had a meeting with Michelle Obama at one point when I was an intern, and someone asked her, will you ever run for office? And she said no, emphatically.
Really?
I've seen all the shit my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me. People would be like, well, I don't think we...
Okay. So this is, I know the audio is not as clear as a bell, but, you're doing an undercover sting, Maybe that next time he does it, they could go for a quiet, romantic walk and have some ice cream as they're walking down the sidewalk, and it's not so loud. But but the questions he's asking, I can't believe this guy hasn't picked up on it yet. O'Keefe might as well be holding a handheld mic and interviewing the guy. This is, what James O'Keefe did is a honeypot. He just did a little honeypot. And that's crazy to me. This guy is a senior... Well, he was. I'm sure he's in all kinds of hot water right now. Senior official at the White House. This is the first White House confirmation that Biden is suffering from dementia. All right? And I know a lot of people are going to say today, well, we already know. There's a difference between knowing and... I tell you this every time because there's a lot of people who think, I know everything. We all know. There's... in any type of legal proceeding, you need to have more than just your personal knowledge. You need to have evidence, and evidence can involve witnesses. So this is a senior guy at the White House. This is the first White House admission and confirmation that Joe Biden indeed is suffering from dementia. That means that Kamala Harris and everyone around him that's not doing what they're supposed to do, invoke the 25th Amendment, are breaking the law. And while Fox News and the mainstream corporate media may not cover this James O'Keefe story, I promise you Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene have already seen this, saw it before we did, before it was released. And this guy who is, he's already deleted all his social media, including his LinkedIn. I'm sure he's gone underground, undercover, and is just in a complete state of utter panic. They may take him and put him in a safe house somewhere. The Democrat Party, but this guy needs to be called in front of Congress to testify, and he said that there's discussions at the White House about Biden's dementia. So part of his testimony would be finding out who the other people are that talk about it and bring them in too. Because if he does indeed have dementia, which we know, but now we've got confirmation, all kinds of crimes are taking place. So this is story number one. I've got a couple others that are pretty big we're going to cover on the program today. Your calls are most definitely welcome. James O'Keefe is amazing. You know, he was at Mar-a-Lago the other day with Loomer, and I knew something was coming. I did not know it was this, and this is very, very good. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show. Indeed, you are. The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think you're gonna really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a Trolleys traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
In the Palm Beaches, the major expressways are crash-free, moving up to full speed this morning between Boca Raton and Jupiter. The surface streets are also incident-free at this time, and all overnight construction has been cleared. Further south in the Broward County terminal stop after Atlantic Boulevard, a multi-vehicle crash has 3 left lanes blocked. Some slowdowns are forming there. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust in store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of their everyday financing offers. Lowe's knows home improvement, subject to credit approval. Let's drop off this bar.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC with an exciting lineup of comedians like Harlan Williams with 2 shows, February 2nd and 3rd, Joe DeVito, Adam Carolla, and Pauly Shore. And check out fabulous dinner shows with Portrait of Aretha February 9th and Chris McDonald's Memories of Elvis Valentine's Day event February 14th. For tickets and info, go to bbkennelclub.com.
Are you exhausted after work with no energy left in the tank to give your family? Are you having a midday crash on a daily basis? Women, are menopause symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and depression making your daily life feel far more difficult than it should? Men, do you feel like you're aging far beyond what you should? Is your sexual life and relationships suffering because of disappointments in the bedroom? Then take action and let our medical team at Lighthouse Medical Center help you stop the symptoms that are holding you back. We use hormone optimization therapies with precision technology to help solve your problematic symptoms. Our family-owned practice has had the honor of serving our South Florida community for over 71 years. Call us right now and let our medical team get you optimized and feeling the way that you should. Life is too short to be running at less than 100%. You and your family deserve the best version of you. Call us at 754-222-6642 or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
Enjoy comfort all year round with CMI. Whether it's hot or cold outside, maintaining your AC system is essential for its longevity. And if it's time to replace that old system, trust CMI to offer the best-in-class options, like a new train system. You know what they say, it's hard to stop a train. And at CMI, train air conditioners will keep you comfortable throughout the years. Don't settle for less than a cozy home. At CMI, we guarantee professional installation and service to ensure your comfort is our priority. Call us at 561-844-1004 or visit us online at cmiac.com.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, to buy one get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way too.
Go to mypillow.com and use our promo promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
All right. We are coming back in 34 seconds. All right. All right, here we go.
Third at the Public Safety Complex, 1230 South Nob Hill Road in Dayton.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. 47 years on the air.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, so James O'Keefe and this gay date he went on. I mean, this is big stuff. And, you know, this is really amazing what's going on here with our media. You know, there was a time when the media were influential. And in President Trump's first run in 2016, a lot of people talked about one of the things the media hated about Trump, one of the things in the first campaign is they didn't pick him. And they were afraid of him winning in 2016 because it would show that they no longer had influence. And that was proven. And that was many years ago now, right? 8 years ago. So here we are. And there have been, in the last 2 weeks, 2 massive political scandals. One Democrat, one Republican. And it's a media blackout on the whole thing, except Newsmax. And coincidentally, they got some sexual harassment beef going on at Newsmax now, the only television news outlet that actually covers and breaks news that's important. So we've got this White House sting that O'Keefe did, and then we got the Kari Lake bribe tape. The Kari Lake bribe tape is faded away. And now the O'Keefe, and you know, O'Keefe was talking in an interview, like his life's in danger over this. And I'll tell you, one day we'll get the full story of what happened at Project Veritas that resulted in them pushing him out. But what I believe what happened was they pushed him out because they thought they could silence his reporting. And it's going to have an opposite effect. He came out with his biggest story in over a decade, right? You know, and the Kari Lake story, the media, I was talking yesterday when someone had called in early in the show yesterday about Michelle Obama, and they said, well, Bongino talks about it, Charlie Kirk, and I was explaining, I said, you know, some days there's slow news days, and there's not a story out there that really gets you. You know, that happens. Everybody has their own particular interest in the news even. And a lot of people that do daily shows like this, when there's not a big story in the news or it's a slow news period or nothing really is grabbing them, they have some things they fall back on that are easy shows. Or it could be they just were out too late last night, didn't get much sleep, or hungover. And Michelle running for president is one that lights up the phones. Everyone's got an opinion on it. And it's one of those topics that I consider to be killing time topics. Well, this guy here, White House official, said he was in a room with Michelle Obama, and she said no, under no circumstances would she run. So that kind of kills that. But with right now, what you see in the news going on, if you watch the mainstream news right now, what are they covering? Not much. They're kind of coasting through the news cycle in the mainstream media this week. They started with E. Jean Carroll, but they realized what a nutbag she is, so you're not seeing her or hearing her as much as you were a couple days ago. They thought they'd have a week or two of her, and she's too crazy. So they're in a period where they don't have a lot of new news to cover. 2 stories: the Kari Lake bribe and this James O'Keefe. The Kari Lake bribe audio is stereophonic sound. This video with James O'Keefe is about 13 minutes long. I just played a clip of it. And while it doesn't sound the greatest on the air, it is completely in subtitles. And I read a partial transcript as well. So both of these stories, Kari Lake's bribe and the James O'Keefe story, that he dropped and broke last night that I just shared in the last segment, these are made for television, but they won't cover because they are all compromised. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't watch that. I don't watch that. Well, just because you don't doesn't mean others don't. And while they may not have the influence they once had, many millions of people get their news and information still from the television news, more than you realize. Those of you that listen to me, you probably don't because you listen to me on the radio or you on one of my online platforms. So you're kind of like an internet alt media person. You're not the standard person I'm talking about. And the standard person are people that don't follow the news and politics. Like the Super Bowl's coming up, right? I told you, I don't know the name of one player on one NFL team, but I'm going to watch the Super Bowl, right? And that's how it is for most of the country when it comes to the scandalous news that we take for granted that everyone knows. They only follow the news when you get close to the presidential election. And since the mainstream media don't cover any of these massive stories we take for granted that we all know, like the back of our hand, they never hear about them. And someone who's because you're a news junkie. I'm a news junkie. People that are football fanatics would laugh at me that I don't know the name of one player on one professional football team. Most guys wouldn't even admit it because they'll think, oh, it won't sound like a man unless I know. I know Taylor Swift's boyfriend is on the Kansas City Chiefs because I don't even know his name. Okay, and I really don't care. But that's how most people are when it comes to politics. And when it comes to the scandalous politics, it's even worse because not an utterance of any of the scandalous stories that are out there each and every day that you and I take for granted that everyone knows. So when you get into a presidential election season like we are in now, it is important to continue to push these stories, report these stories, share them on all your socials, talk to your friends about them so people know what is going on. Because these things, they don't know about them. And James O'Keefe, he said this is just tape one. James O'Keefe is very smart, very smart. When he does a release, he does it in a beat. He starts with something good, but not the best, right? He builds up to that. He usually has a few news drops, and then the grand finale is at the end. And he's been doing, James O'Keefe, some investigative reporting on what Madison Cawthorn has been talking about, the honeypots of D.C. And if you notice, in almost every instance, it's a man. And we see here what James O'Keefe does. They use gay men, men pretending to be gay, or hot women to befriend these guys. And these upper-level Washington insiders, this guy works at the White House. He sings like a canary. I bet you that guy has one of the highest top secret clearances you can have since he works in the West Wing. He's heads up the cybersecurity office. He probably has pretty much as high of a clearance as you can get. And here he is singing like a canary in a public restaurant to a guy he doesn't know. And, the reason he's doing this is because men are out of control. All they can think about is getting back. All this guy was thinking about was impressing undercover James O'Keefe so they go to one of their apartments or the parking lot, like Nikki Haley likes to do, and have sex. And it's the same for the straight guys, too. That's why they sing like canaries. I am very tight-lipped about what goes on in business and things like this, private things with business. I don't tell anybody anything, ever. And it's not being secretive, it's just being smart. People don't need to know everything. They don't need to know everything. Just because someone asks you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. Steve and I, we were in a meeting, and I'll tell this to Steve before any meeting Steve and I have. Don't bring this up. Don't bring that, because Steve likes to tell. He's like this guy. He's telling people everything. I was like, "What are you going to tell? They don't need to know that. They don't need to know." Not that we have anything to hide, but business and what goes on in your business is private. And when you are the cybersecurity expert and you sing like a canary like this to some guy you met on Tinder or Grindr or wherever James O'Keefe put the... Do gays go on Tinder, or is it just... I don't know. They didn't have those things when I was single. But if he's talking like that to someone like James O'Keefe, what if he has, like, classified information about an attack or a response to an attack or U.S. policy on something that hasn't been publicly announced or some secret agreement that's going on between the United States and Israel in regards to Gaza? Could you trust this guy not to sing like a canary? And I don't like to do the you shoulda thing. And I don't want to disrespect James O'Keefe by doing the you shoulda, but he kind of, we'll see when we get the other drops. I hope he didn't end it too early, because there's a lot of things he could have run by. Whose cocaine was that? Was that Joe's cocaine? Was that Hunter's cocaine? Come on, And when, I hope he asks him that at some point in the future releases we get. I hope he didn't end it too early, but there's a lot of things like that you could have asked this guy. And I'm sure James O'Keefe did a fine job. I'm not worried. But it is so important, guys, to not assume that everyone knows all of these things. And remember, suspecting something or observing it like we do is different than having an insider witness, an eyewitness out there talking about Joe Biden's mental decline and dementia that everyone in the White House talks about, according to this guy. Now, we're going to take our last break of the first hour. I got a whole bunch more. I'm probably going to wait till after the top to get to this Fox News story. Fox News is doing something that's disgusting, and I'm going to expose that after the top of the hour break. And I've got some more new things, though, I'm going to jump into after this break. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard, delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'm also going to get into this new thing with DeSantis in a little bit with Disney. A lot of misreporting going on with that. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm coming back. Interesting.
Take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, indeed. Welcome. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I just want to add to my message about Friendly Tire. You know, I've been a customer of Friendly Tire, oh my goodness, many years before they were a sponsor on this program. But, you know, they service and get tires at the lowest prices you'll find anywhere on every type of vehicle. If you have corporate fleets, if you have industrial vehicles, I've seen people come over there with cement mixer trucks, okay, and rust buckets. I was over there a couple weeks ago, and there was a woman over there who lives in her Volkswagen Bug. She was getting tires at Friendly Tire because the prices are so good. But I also see people over there in Porsche Cayennes, okay, getting tires. We've had listeners in new Vets, and one of our listeners was over there in a Bentley once when I was over at Friendly Tire in Margate. So you see everybody from the Bentleys and the Porsche Cayennes to the, rust buckets. I don't know how they even make it there. And we have listeners that travel over an hour each way to go to Friendly Tire in Margate. The prices are so low. There's no need to be driving around on bald tires. They have thousands of used tires in stock. These are very good used tires at great prices. But Friendly Mike also has every brand of tire you want. My favorite, I like Firestone. I guess I'm old school. But they have Pirelli, Bridgestone, whatever tires you like, they got them. The lowest prices anywhere. If you have run flats like on my Mini Cooper, the best prices you'll find on run flats anywhere. And Mike at Friendly Tire also does tire repairs, which the other shops do not do. He does tire repairs as well. So when you give him a call, remember, the price he quotes you is out the door and on the road. And what I mean by that, he doesn't charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or dispose of your old tires. Even if, because some people may say, well, he sells used tires. Even if he can't sell your tire as a user, he still doesn't charge you to dispose of your old tire. And he has to pay, to dispose of tires. That cost a few dollars a tire. I was shocked. I thought that some guy just got it for recycling and kind of sold it to the dump or something. No, Mike has to pay someone, and it's not cheap, per tire to take away and dispose of those old tires. That I did not know that. But he doesn't charge you to dispose of your old tires. So, yeah, his profit margins are low, but he makes it up in the mass volume of you who go there. So when you call him, he'll give you a quote right over the phone. Make sure you heard him, tell him you heard about him on the show here, and he'll take extra good care of you. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Richie.
This is a bigger deal than anybody really realizes. I'm sitting here thinking about it. The American people are so dumbed down with elections and the Constitution and everything else. You remember when Ronald Reagan got shot and Alexander Haig stepped in? Because that wasn't ceremonial. That was a thing that you had to do because the president might not have made it.
Yep. By the way, Alexander Haig, a lot of you don't know this. He was a listener of this program and a regular customer at Barry's Vitamins in Boca because he retired down here to Boca, Alexander Haig.
When Mike Pence was certifying the election, okay,
yeah. I'm waiting till the part that has to do with what I'm talking about. Rope and Phones is tomorrow, Richie.
This is about what you're talking about.
Okay.
Talking about that the president of the United States is not running the country, and we voted for.
Well, here's the thing. This guy, he may not have some fancy job like White House Chief of Staff or Secretary of something, but he's the senior cybersecurity expert, and he's also in charge of the Foreign Affairs desk. That's a very senior person at the White House who has the highest of classified secrets, and he's dealing with the top people in government. Okay, and this is not a stretch to say this. This is the first White House confirmation that Joe Biden, the President of the United States, I hate saying that, but has dementia. And he says they talk about it in the White House. That means that this country is being illegally run by an individual or by committee, and that's a crime.
Fourth branch of government, unelected officials are running this country, which 150%.
I mean, like for example, we're about to have a military response against Iran. Who's authorizing military action? That's criminal.
Not somebody that we voted for.
Mm-hmm.
Why we should be out? This is outrageous. This is bigger than. I think this is a major story. And
absolutely. And I'll tell you this. It's going like crazy online, but in this type of media and stuff, I'm breaking it. Okay, and it shouldn't be that way. And what'll happen is people will be embarrassed and start covering it in a few days, maybe, and then people will think it's important. I mean, those of you that listen to this show, I am regularly a week, 2 weeks, a month ahead of the rest of the media on a lot of stories. This is one of the biggest. This scandal is as big as the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton scandal, but it's worse because there's dangers lurking, because we have people illegally not just running the government, but calling military strikes.
And at the same time, they got the same man who has dementia up for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
Another 4 years. This is what I'm talking about. This is total insanity here.
Well, it's frightening.
I mean, it's more than that.
And anyone, and I'll tell you, Trump will be back in a year, guys. Okay, when he's back, there very well could be people going to prison. It is you can't. The presidential office is not a ceremonial office. He's not the Queen or King of England, okay? And if someone is authorizing military strikes, when someone is, like, I give an example. Attorney Barry Siegel, he does. We talk about them planning. There comes a point when people can't sign legal documents anymore. You have to get power of attorney and such. And with this guy and this gay dating sting of James O'Keefe is telling us is that the President of the United States is suffering from dementia. Everybody in the White House knows and talks about it. So who is authorizing military action? He is not legally capable of authorizing anything. These are so they're murder. These Iranian strikes are murders if they're not authorized by the president. Mass murders.
Yeah, and it's a big fraud. And this Democratic Party is the ones that always walk around holding up the Constitution. That's what they say.
And I want you to think about it. And if there's, when we have one of these tragic shootings at the schools, they talk about gun control. It is, if Biden is suffering from dementia, which we have White House confirmation of it, courtesy of James O'Keefe, okay, whoever is involved in that military strike has committed mass murder.
Yeah, this government is really corrupted. I mean, it really is. It's got to the point where, they're all on the take.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous already. And this is probably the biggest story that I've never heard anything quite like.
It's insanity.
A whole election.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That we don't know about.
Yeah. And this guy, I know, forget about Hunter for the moment. They need to bring this guy in front of the committee immediately and testify. And he may not be able to be found. They may relocate him to safe houses and everything, because this guy, he sung like a canary to James O'Keefe.
I am so sick of seeing this press secretary defend this every day and not answer questions and say, if this is really bad, they should force this president to have a news conference. Not a teleprompter conference, not a list that he knows who the hell's going to ask him questions.
Well, I would like to see the mainstream media bring James O'Keefe in studio to talk about this. When he was doing it, and I'll tell you how bad Fox has gotten. When James O'Keefe did that Acorn story when Obama was president, he was on Fox News for weeks in studio talking about it. I haven't seen him over there in years.
You know, Brian, if Biden's not running it, we know now for sure. Who's nailing President Trump with all suits and everything?
Exactly.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous already.
Yeah.
And this is not the United States anymore.
Mm-hmm.
To say that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richie. It's not. All right. You know, I don't know. Maybe the country's been like this forever. I don't know. But we're certainly in a new space right now. Our number is 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You know, when James O'Keefe did the Acorn sting, not only was he on Fox every day, he was on Fox in costume, in his Huggy Bear costume from Starsky and Hutch, and in studio. It was amazing. And now it's a blip. It's not even there. But, you know, that's okay. You know, it's not 2008 anymore. And enough people get their news and information in alternative ways that this will circulate. But that Kerry Lake bribe story, why have we not seen reporters camped out in front of that guy's house asking him questions about it in Arizona? The reporters were following around the chairman of the Florida Republican Party with these absurd rape allegations. By the way, you know those rape allegations, they dropped him? It's gone. No case. No investigation. Nada. Because it was all made up. The powers that be got him to step down from running the party because he's the husband of the Moms for Liberty founder. Now, I want to talk to you guys about the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the MyPillow, Mr. Mike Lindell. Remember, free shipping on all items at MyPillow.com as a thank you to you and this audience from Mr. Mike Lindell himself, okay, for your support through all this canceling that's going on. And here we are on Valentine's Day. You know, those MyPillow bathrobes, I have one, my wife has one. Those are great gifts for Valentine's Day. They have many different colors, a whole bunch of new colors. There's two types. There's a heavy robe and a lighter robe. We have the heavier robes, but you can also get the lighter robes. And the normal price is $159.98. But with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, as low as $49.98, plus free shipping with our promo code KANE at checkout. Huge savings. That's over $100 savings. And free shipping with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, KANE. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. I'll take some calls, but I've got some other stories we're going to get into, too, and I probably will recap either towards the end of the next hour or the 8 o'clock hour, the James O'Keefe story. Since there's a mainstream media blackout, I feel obligated to get that out to as many people as I can. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. This is Florida's longest-running radio show. Indeed, it is. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. Back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by the Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rogue Studio.
All right, guys. Okay.
561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Robes winning for you and our community.
Oh, yeah, remember, Tom Laporta's going to come in around 8:30 at some time to record a commercial. So if you said you could record it in here while I'm on the air? Okay, great. Okay.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach.
Okay.
Voted in the best of the best patio stores.
You guys can hear me when I'm talking back there in the other room?
Where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
control way into your home. If no one is monitoring your home, then you need to call Slomin's now. Slomin's is giving you a free, $1,500 value home security system with professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. Call 1-833-283-5050 and learn more about this incredible limited-time total home security package. You're getting an LED touchscreen keypad, a motion detector, 10 entry points, a lifetime service plan, professional installation, and backup battery. Call 1-833-283-5050 and you'll also get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. That's 1-833.
Okay, I'm going to get to this Fox thing when we get back. This pisses me off. This is insane.
Since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. Callers on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Okay, so Fox News. This really ticks me off. You know, when I do my show prep in the morning, I've got my main sources I go to, and if I've got time, I check to see what a couple others are doing that aren't my mainstream, and one of them's Fox. Now, yesterday, I went through the latest polls. In fact, the battleground polls. President Trump leads Joe Biden in every single poll in the battleground swing state polls. Every one. That's amazing. Amazing. Okay? Yeah, I know. And you heard yesterday the liberals that called the show. They were just unglued on yesterday's show when I broke that news of those battleground polls. So I go to Fox News' website today, and they have a story there, and I guess they ran with this on the television. Here's the headline: Biden tops Trump in new poll. And I'm thinking, how the heck is that possible? I just read all the latest polls that same, yesterday morning, and not only was Trump ahead, he was ahead in every battleground state. Fox News: President Biden holds a 6-point lead over former President Donald Trump in a likely November election rematch, a national poll, according to a national poll. And it says here, the Quinnipiac University survey released on Wednesday is where this came from. So I pulled up the poll's methodology. The methodology of a poll is tells you who they polled. And it took a few minutes to get this, okay? You couldn't get it directly. It's not in the news story. And I looked up some other news stories reporting this filth, this lie. None of them give you the methodology. But I had the name of the poll, and the Fox News story had a link to the poll from Quinnipiac. So I clicked on the link at Fox News and went to the poll, and Quinnipiac has a story about the poll, but they don't give you the methodology, who they polled. Right? But if you dig deeper into the poll, they had another link that would take you to the methodology, which was difficult to find. And I was in a hurry because I had to, drive to the radio station, but I got it. So Biden has a 6-point lead, and they're, oh, look, breaking news! Got the sounder and everything going on. Biden is 6 points ahead, right? Listen to the breakdown of who they polled. Party identification. Here's the question they asked to the people they polled. In the poll that has Biden 6 points ahead of the greatest president ever, Donald Trump. Do you consider yourself a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or what? 27% of those in this survey, in this poll, 27% of those they polled are Republicans. 30% are Democrats. So right there, they've oversampled Democrats by 3 points, right? 27% are Republicans, 30% are Democrats, another 30% are independent, and another 13 say other. Well, what other is there if you're not independent? Commies? I don't know. So my experience has been, you know what an independent voter is? A lying Democrat. That's what an independent voter is, a lying Democrat. So they have a poll, and they don't give you this breakdown of who they polled, okay? They're telling you that that Biden's ahead of Trump, but they don't tell you who they polled. I had to dig, I had to investigate to find it. And when you're talking about presidential election, you're talking about Democrats and Republicans. Only 27% Republicans. So the rest, 30, 60, 73% of them are Democrats. So they have a poll that's 73% weighted towards liberals and Biden 6 points ahead. And they don't tell you that part. Are you kidding me? This is the most invalid poll I've ever seen. Okay? But the mainstream media, they're running with it. And the reason they're running with it is because Trump is doing so well creaming Biden that they had to do something to slow down the momentum. And I bet you no one but me gave you that information about the breakdown. And let me see if I can, and it's done in a way that if let me see if it'll let me post it to Twitter. It's done in a way where you can't even really tweet it. You know how like you'll tweet something and it'll give you kind of like a description of what it is? It doesn't let you do that because they make it difficult to share it because they don't want the methodology known. So 73% Democrat, 27% Republican. Shocker, Biden's ahead by 6 points. But even with an overly weighted poll, 3/4 in favor of Democrats, Biden barely edging out against Trump. These people in the media are sick, disgusting lowlives. You're on the air. What's your name? Doug, you got to change your call-in time, okay? You've been calling at the same time. And I'm not giving you a hard time. You're all right. But you've been calling at the same time like a lot. So, you know.
What time do you want me to call?
Well, I don't tell people when to call. But what I tell people is, if, you know, you gotta stagger it around a little bit. You can't call. If you call at the same time every day, it becomes like a segment. And it makes the show too predictable. I'm not giving you a hard time. I've taught you about this before. It's like I told Mike, Louisiana Mike, you can't be the first caller every day. And for the most part, he abides by that. Okay, it's quality control.
Okay, gotcha. The first thing I just want to say is this gay guy who talked to James O'Keefe. I think he was so easy to talk about Biden because everybody's probably talking about it in the White House. It must be such common talk that he figured, it's just typical conversation. That's how bad this Biden is.
Well, I'll tell you what this guy. Back when I was single and dating, I've worked on the radio since I was a teenager, right? I worked at radio stations since my late teens, right? 18, 19. And when I was dating, before I was married, when I was dating, most of the time, because dates don't really, you're not getting married here. Most of the time, the girls I went out with had no idea what I did for a living, because I didn't want them to call the radio station and get on the air with one of the other hosts and then be a guest for an hour talking about the date. You know what I mean? But I did, but I and these guys in Washington, all they care about is impressing people so they can get them in bed.
Like I was saying,
I think he might have been a little hesitant if it was like top secret something.
Excuse me. The President of the United States suffering from dementia and being out of it is classified top secret. We're doing military strikes. That's probably top secret information, intel that he's giving. And these people sign all kinds of confidentiality agreements. He's talking about private discussions in the West Wing that they were trying to remove Kamala Harris from the ticket for re-election, and they decided they can't do it because she's a black woman. You can't do it, So he is not only violating probably his top secret status, but probably non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah, man, he's in big trouble. I don't know what's he'll probably disappear. You probably won't see him ever again.
Yeah. Now, I want to say, I like your calls, and you're a very good caller. Okay, there's nothing wrong with your calls. Your callers are better than a lot of these jokers I talk to, but you just can't call in at the same time every day. That's all. You got to. This isn't the first time we've had this conversation.
Yeah, you might have talked about before. Forget that.
A long time ago, and that's okay. But I
wind up get busy a little late. I could probably. Early.
No, whatever. Early, later, different times, whatever. You just can't. It's just it doesn't. It doesn't look good. It just makes the show. You okay? You're all choked up. You're not trying to play the victim on me. I'm not giving you a hard time, Doug. It's quality control. That's all. All right. Take care. Thanks for the call. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to. All right. We'll take our first break of the second hour, and this poll from Fox News is really twisted, sick stuff, and the people at Fox, they know what they're doing, okay? They're not stupid over there. They know that poll was 73% Democrat, 27% Republican, that has Biden up 6 points, and they still go with the story without sharing the methodology of it. That's called fake news. That's called propaganda. It's called lying, all right? Okay, we'll take our first break of the second hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Okay. All right. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and everyone like the video, please.
just like Trump. They're standing up tall, and they feel years younger. Now, it's always a free consultation with Dr. Matez when you tell him you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. 561-320-8893.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Harrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. You know, I got my new TV yesterday, and I probably shouldn't reveal this because it makes me sound stupid, and maybe I am. But we got a 75-inch TV, and we had a 75-inch TV. It blew out. We had the TV, I don't know. The other TV is about 10 years old, and I took the TV. I don't hang the TV on the wall. I know a lot of people hang their TVs on the wall, and I just don't trust that, okay? And plus, I like to move things around and move the furniture around every once in a while and rearrange things, you know, and if it's in the wall, But anyway, I did all the prep and everything, and I took the old TV off. We have it on a stand, whatever you call those things. And when I picked up the TV, it made all this noise inside. It was all the crystals that had fallen off the screen. And I put it down on the floor, and then I got the new TV out, and the new TV was bigger. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This TV is 75-inch. It's still in the box. I took it out of the box. I got the box. The old TV was 75-inch, and it's smaller. And so I said, this is insane. So I got the tape measure. I have not had a 75-inch TV. I've had a 65-inch TV for the last 10 years. And I didn't realize this until yesterday. All these years, 10 years, however long, 7 years, 8 years, I don't know, 7 to 10 years. And it looked like it was 70. It was bigger than the one I had before that. And I got out the tape measure, did the measuring. The new one's 75, the old one's 65. And I thought for all these years I had a 75-inch TV in my living room, and it was 65. And I know when I bought the TV, I got it from a place that's no longer in business. So, and it's been so long, what am I going to do? My wife and I went to the store in person and picked out the TV. And we picked out and bought a 75-inch TV because at the time I was thinking between the 75 and the 85. And this was like 10 years ago. And it was so long ago, they were still selling 3D TVs and those concave TVs and all that stuff, which that fad went away. And I looked at the same TV, 85 and 75, and I said, you know what, that 85 tech just isn't quite there yet. It just didn't look right. It didn't look as good. So I got the 75. I picked out the 75, but they delivered a 65, and I never realized it. So 10 years ago, I paid for a 65-inch TV what a 75-inch TV cost. I know, I felt really dumb with that yesterday. It's just, oh boy, I tell you, I got ripped off, and what can I do about it? All right, our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. All right, I want to talk about this. I got some DMs on Twitter, and somebody tagged me too, but I got some DMs about this. I guess people they're always trying to catch you. I'm available for phone calls. You can call me out on the carpet anytime on anything. I'm here. And I got a couple DMs about this. Someone tagged me on the Twitter this morning about this. And it's about Ron DeSantis and Disney. And the theme of all the messages, the DMs and the thing was, you said that Disney beat Ron DeSantis. He just beat them. No, he did not. And I just want to explain this here, what happened. Walt Disney creamed Ron DeSantis. They won everything. This case yesterday, they were trying to get back that governing district, and the judge tossed it out. But Disney still won, okay? Disney, people that aren't familiar with Florida or Disney don't realize what Disney is. Disney is not the state fair. It's not Six Flags over wherever. Disney is a city, okay? Walt Disney World is about the size of Manhattan. It's huge. Walt Disney, from day one, had not only their own government, they've got their own fire department. They've got their own, not just fire department, they've got their own paramedics. They've got a Disney World Fire Department there. They've got their own utilities for water and electric. Behind the Magic Kingdom's a water treatment plant for Walt Disney World. Okay? They've got their own electrical facility for the whole thing. It's a city. And Disney, since 1971 when they opened, had to maintain all of that. Now, they don't have their own police force, but they pay for it. They pay for police protection, mostly from Osceola and Orange County. So they have to pay for the police force, a fire department, paramedics, water treatment, electrical plant and an electrical grid, and also maintain the roads. The roads. They're public roads. They have to maintain the roads. And what Disney did, Ron DeSantis screwed up. He started threatening them and said he was going to do all these things about a year before he made the move. And Disney did something that was insanely smart. You got to give the devil their due. When they had a year to do this, the last day that they controlled their own city council, they passed a new law with the King Charles clause in it. And I'll read a bit of an article, the King Charles clause. This was a beautiful thing, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. But what happened, Disney passed a forever agreement that'll last hundreds of years, which I'll tell you why, where they can build anything they want without any approval, anything they want, as high as they want. They could build an elevator to the moon if they wanted without any okay from anyone. They got more control over the Disney World than they had before. What the state got was control of this governing board, and now the state of Florida, thanks to Ron DeSantis, they're responsible to maintain the roads that Disney used to maintain. They're responsible for the electrical grid that Disney used to pay for. They're responsible for the water treatment plant and sewage system that Disney used to pay for, the first responders, the police. Disney got rid of all those wasteful expenses. We Floridians have to pay for those now. Thank you, Ron DeSantis. And Disney has complete autonomy on their theme park lands. Okay? And the state of Florida has to pay for all these functions and more, probably, than the ones I'm mentioning. And they put this King Charles clause in. And what does that mean? It means that this is in effect until 20 years. This is in the clause, and this is passed. Disney has this set up in place until 20 years after the last descendant of King Charles dies. That doesn't mean his son or grandson. That means his last descendant. That could be 300 years from now. When is King Charles's last descendant going to die? Right? He's got multiple kids. And they've had kids. Their kids are going to have kids. Yeah, exactly. So it's forever. Right? So no, don't believe what they're saying in the Trump-hating media. Ron DeSantis didn't win anything with Disney. He won this case yesterday, but he got his clock cleaned by Disney. I talked about it at the time. Most people don't know because I've been going to Disney since I was 5. It's here in Florida. I've always loved Disney. I've got an annual pass. My daughter's got an annual pass at Disneyland in California. I got that for her as a moving to LA gift when she went out there, my wife and I. And people don't understand all this. So they got DeSantis now Florida has to pay for all these things that Disney used to pay that they don't want, what it takes to maintain a city. They have complete autonomy forever. Ron DeSantis got his clock cleaned by Disney. And it's important to point out because when he was running for president, if you remember what Carrie Lake said, Carrie Lake, when I interviewed her a few months ago, I brought this up to her. Carrie Lake was on Eric Bolling's show on Newsmax a couple days before I interviewed her, and she talked about what I just talked about, how DeSantis got his clock cleaned. And then she said about DeSantis, if you can't beat Donald Duck, how are you going to beat Donald Trump, Carrie Lake said, right? Thought that was pretty clever, and I brought that quote of hers up to her when I interviewed her. She thought it was funny when I gave it back to her. So no, Ron DeSantis did not win against Disney. He got a humiliating creaming from Disney, all right? Okay, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Call us on hold standby. I'm Brian. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE1, 888-465-2631. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again.
Think you're gonna really?
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Yeah, it's forever.
Greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start on this Thursday, February the 1st. So we're looking like we'll hit the lower 70s today, about 73 to 74 after a cool, brisk start. So impact weather for a few hours this morning as we are in the 50s. WPDF 25 first morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture, Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture, voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach Patio Furniture.
Oh, okay. Oh, now while Mike's here at the bottom, I talked to you guys earlier. There's a link pinned to the top of the chat. It says, "Help baby Luca." Luca is the baby of Mike's best friend who has just had terrible health problems, newborn baby. If you click the link, you can read it. I don't want to read through them again because it's so sad. But if you can help, click that link and help if you can. And if you can't, that's okay. But if you could share that GoFundMe on your social media, that'd be great too. Just click it, and you can read the story. And if you can help, please do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mike said thank you. If you couldn't hear him, so.
Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, guys.
Traffic, a service of the
Yeah, it's sad. Newborn baby.
Showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at
Yeah, Mike was the best man at the father's wedding.
with two shows, February 2nd and 3rd, Joe DeVito, Adam Carolla, and Pauly Shore. And check out fabulous dinner shows with Portrait of Aretha February 9th.
Oh, yeah, that was humiliating for DeSantis. That King Charles clause, I mean, you got to laugh. I mean, that's hilarious.
Club.com.
You can make 2024 the year of more ocean views and quality time with your crew.
People don't realize any of this stuff.
Buy one, get 3 promotion. Now, for a limited time, you can bring up to 3 guests for free when you buy just 1 guest fare. Bring your friends, family, or kids along for free on fun-soaked getaways to the Bahamas aboard the Margaritaville at Sea.
That makes no sense.
Adventure together with your best mates in Mexico and Key West this summer aboard the all-new Islander. Don't miss out on a sail like no other. Go to MargaritavilleAtSea.com and book today.
Brian Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000. What are they doing with your money? Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a permit, and HOAs, much longer. If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof.
Oh, my goodness.
Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Hi, this is Gabriel with Florida Cash Home Buyers. We pay cash for houses. If you want to sell your home fast and easy without a realtor and save thousands in commissions and closing
We'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there.
7070, you can sell us your home in as little as 3 days or on your time frame. We can even pay you a cash advance before
That makes absolutely no sense.
a fair and honest offer. Our home buying process is simple, and we can make you a cash offer over the phone or in person, whatever works for you. Do you home no matter the condition or situation. You don't need to clean or fix anything, and there's no commissions or closing costs. If you want to sell your home fast and easy, we'll buy it. Call us today for a free offer. 561-570-7070. That's 561-570-7070. 561-570-7070.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 we ordered with Kane the other day. The buy one get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way too.
Go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, 33 minutes after that, I was listening to Tom Laporta's commercial during the break. Tom Laporta and Laporta Contract, going to be at the Greek Festival in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. They've got a booth over there. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I might stop by. If the weather's good, I might stop by. I think the weather's supposed to be great. You see it today. But look for the Laporta Contracting booth. You guys don't know this. Not a joke. I'm Greek. I just don't look like it because my mom's adopted. But, my grandmother was Greek. My great-grandfather was from the old country, and my family owned a Greek restaurant. So I don't look like it. I'm white Greek, right? Yeah, that's right, white Greek. But, Tom Laporta and Laporta Contracting will be at the Greek Festival in Fort Lauderdale this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you see them at the booth, stop by and say, hey, I hear you guys on the Steve Kane Show. All right, so Joy Behar, this is just so bizarre. The Coven of the View. Joy Behar on The View, they were sitting around doing what they normally do, hating on Trump. I'm waiting for E. Jean Carroll to appear on The View. I hope they book E. Jean Carroll on The View. That'll be the best. That'll be the beginning of the end for E. Jean Carroll. But they were hating on Trump, and for some reason, they were talking about a very old story that Trump stopped the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Didn't have it, and I'm sure he'll do the same in his second term. Why should he go there and honor these jerks that lie about him and make and promote lies as news and such? And Joy Behar was talking about this, and it doesn't sound like anything that is interesting. And then she said something really stupid at the end. And just share this. We won't talk about it too much because it's Joy Behar, but she's like 80 years old. She's I get. What keeps her around her hate. Her hatred of Donald Trump at 80 plus years old keeps her going to work every day on The View. Listen to that. Joy Behar on The View yesterday talking about President Trump and Charlie Chaplin.
He is one of the most dangerous people of my lifetime to ever be in the Oval Office. He is probably the most dangerous. So you have somebody and he doesn't have a good sense of humor. We all know that at the Correspondents' Dinner, when President Obama made a joke about him, his skin is thinner than his hair. And he got so pissed off that he had to run for president and go after poor Obama, who was...
Okay. So, we'll get to the Charlie Chaplin. So, Joy Behar is saying that Trump ran for president because Obama took a swipe at him at the Correspondents' Dinner. I don't remember that, but my guess would be when Obama's first term was up and that election was starting, President Trump was toying with the idea of running for president that year. Remember that? So maybe they made a joke about it.
So pissed off that he had to run for president and go after poor Obama, who was born in this country.
Okay. Go against President Obama, who was born in this country. Yes. Okay. Now, why would she throw that in, right? Because remember all the birth certificate talk? Everyone wanted to see Obama's birth certificate. Do you know who started that? Some of you know. Who started asking for Obama's birth certificate? It was during his first run for president. He was still a senator. Hillary Clinton's campaign. In fact, it was Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign chairman from, I believe, Pennsylvania. We had him on the show. Can you believe? We had Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman came on the show, and I didn't think too much about it at the time. I wish I had bothered to tape it and keep it, but it didn't seem like such a big deal at the time. We were one of the first people to do this. We had I read a little article about it. We had him on the show, and Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman was asking for Obama's birth certificate. So that whole birth certificate birther thing started with Mrs. Clinton and her campaign when she was running in the primary against Obama, okay? And it did not start by Trump or Republicans. So if it's racist, Joy Behar, go talk to Mrs. Clinton about that, because she's the one that started it. And what Trump did was really a kind of a favor in a way to Obama. He got Obama to produce the birth certificate because President Trump had teamed up with the great Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who I miss so much, and they did an investigation looking for the birth certificate. And Trump, I remember, Trump he landed in Trump Force One. He was the host of the Celebrity Apprentice, and reporters were, he would have press conferences, and they would ask him about the birth certificate. It's like, well, Sheriff Joe's sending some guys out to Hawaii, and they're looking through the archives. And then all of a sudden, Barack Obama had an unannounced press conference and produced a document that he said was a color photocopy of his birth certificate. And he produced that because of Donald Trump. So President Trump Hillary Clinton started with the birth certificate birther stuff, not conservatives. And Donald Trump did a favor to Obama because he produced that document that he said was a copy of his birth certificate. Okay, so then she goes on, Joy Behar.
His hair, and he got so pissed off that he had to run for president and go after poor Obama, who was born in this country. He's a menace. But the man doesn't take it. Doesn't it make it more funny? They made fun of Hitler. Charlie Chaplin made fun of Hitler in 1940. By 1945, millions and millions of people were dead.
Okay. Charlie Chaplin made fun of Hitler, and 5 years later, millions and millions of people were dead, Joy Behar said. Charlie Chaplin is one of my favorite actors. He's incredible. I love silent movies. Harold Lloyd is better than Charlie Chaplin, guys. I like Harold Lloyd. Harold Lloyd, he's the guy that you always see in those old movies that's hanging off the clock over in New York City. That's Harold Lloyd. He's much better than Charlie Chaplin, not as well known. But anyway, Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator is one of the most important films ever made. It's about Hitler. It is hilarious. I've seen it many times. And it was really mocking Hitler and Mussolini. It was before we were in the war. But Charlie Chaplin knew what was going on over there because everybody knew. The media covered it up because it covered it. And then at the end of the movie, though, it's not a comedy. He does a very long speech at the end. And it's one of the most important movies ever made, Charlie Chaplin. And he was the most famous and biggest movie star of that time. And he took a stand against Hitler like no one else did. While all the Democrats were appeasing Hitler, okay, Charlie Chaplin took on Hitler. And it was very controversial at the time. But Joy Behar is blaming Charlie Chaplin for the Holocaust. She's saying that all those people died after 1940 through 45, which would be the 6 million Jews and everyone else, because of Charlie Chaplin's movie? Is this what this idiot is saying? She's a real twisted person, I must tell you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Listen, let me ask you this question first to start our conversation. What started the conflict between Ron DeSantis, the state of Florida, and Disney? What started it?
Oh, there was a leaked Zoom meeting, okay, with an executive who was in charge of the animation film department in California with a group of animators and filmmakers from Disney that got leaked out, and they were talking about that the executive had 2 children that were both living in genders other than they were born in, and some of the gay animators were bragging about how they get gay characters and gay couples in the backgrounds of the children's movies. and no one notices. It's subliminal. And that went public through libs of TikTok. I'm glad you asked. Libs of TikTok made that viral, and DeSantis took action against Disney in response to that.
And you agree with that? Ron DeSantis was standing up for the children that visit Disney, that they were going to start making Snow White a man. They were going to start doing other things. And Ron DeSantis said, you start doing that, we're taking away your special tax exemption status. And he won.
No, he didn't win. He didn't win. I at the top of the hour, I went through the whole thing. Did you hear the King Charles clause and stuff?
He stood up.
He didn't win.
Again, he stood up for moral.
Okay, hold on. Enough of the platitudes. Okay, did you hear the first segment earlier when
You know what? Now they pay more taxes, so it's going to balance out overall. But now Disney, which grew,
they pay more taxes, but they don't have to pay for the fire department, the paramedics, the police, maintaining the roads and bridges. They don't have to pay for the electrical grid or the electrical plant or the water treatment facilities or the sewage system. So they pay more in taxes. But overall, they're saving money because they don't have to pay for the infrastructure around Disney World. And from now and forever, they have complete autonomy to do any type of construction on the properties that they want without any approval.
You know what? That's out of nowhere. No one, unless you drive miles off the highway, who cares what they're building out there?
What? Off the highway? Have you been there lately?
Yes. And how many miles does it take to get from the highway?
Not many because from the turnpike? Oh, the turnpike, it's about a 20-minute drive from the turnpike, 30 minutes, but there's an entire there's an entire city. You get off the turnpike, that's all built up. Okay? Yeah, have you been on Osceola Parkway? Or even if you take that 413 or whatever it is that goes to the airport, it's all built. People live there. There's businesses, huge communities. What are you talking about? This is, you have this Brian Craig derangement syndrome, Greg. You really do.
You know what you have? You have a Ron DeSantis. I mean, it's beyond.
Oh, you're trying to make my attacks. You're trying to get your own material.
DeSantis, you know what? Listen, if they want to disenfranchise those surrounding communities, God bless them. Because guess what? They will.
I'm not in favor of what those Disney executives said and what they're doing and that Zoom meeting. I don't agree with that, but I'm telling you that Ron DeSantis lost.
No, he won. Know why? Also, if you let me speak you don't let me speak. You let these other callers speak. And by the way, Doug, I challenge Doug not to call your show for 5 days. And Louisiana Mike, not to call your show for 5 days.
I'm sure. You want to tell everybody not to call. Okay, that's fine. What you say? I don't let you talk. I shut up, and you're not saying anything of value.
No. What I'm going to tell you right now is that Disney is not going to go ballistic with construction just because they can now. They're going to buy an elevator to the moon. You think they're going to start moving their park because they had a disagreement with Ron DeSantis? Are you kidding me?
Well, I think I made my case, okay, and I guess it was after the quarter after break. I can't remember. But it was either the top or the quarter after break. And I'm not going to repeat everything I did in that segment, but he lost the entire thing to Disney. And it's really an embarrassment. And what you're doing is spin.
You let every other caller speak, and you don't let me.
You've been on the air for 4 minutes. You've been on the line for 4 minutes and 51 seconds.
Spoken 3 minutes, so 3.5 minutes.
Well, I'm the host.
They also pulled back on the LGBTQ statement. Ron DeSantis won for the families in the state of Florida.
Really? I just watched Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. Snake Plissken, Escape from New York. Kurt Russell has a new Disney movie out, okay? He's saving Disney. He did a partnership with Apple TV. Main characters are lesbians. So I don't know what you're talking about, okay?
I'm talking about at the park itself, not their movie.
You're kidding me? You go into any place they sell the Mickey Mouse ears, a quarter of them are Pride gay rainbow ones.
What are you talking about? When's the last time you've been there?
The last time I was at Disney was 3 months ago.
By yourself, I imagine.
No, I was with my daughter.
Oh, your daughter is back from California? Okay. And you went there. So now you're talking what? How many percentage employees are gay? And
I didn't say gay. I said if you go. Most of the employees at Disney World here, I'm not lying. I've got a damn YouTube channel about Disney. People see me going to Disney. I did a video where I went to Disney World wearing my MAGA hat. I don't keep track of when I did a YouTube video when I went to Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom here in Orlando with my MAGA hat on, and all day long the employees were complimenting me. That's the nicest hat in the park. I love your hat. Great hat. Wish I could wear one. The employees are MAGA. They're just run by these California loons.
you just made my point.
No, this was, what, you think they all just got hired? Have a great day. Have a great day. What do you think just happened? Oh, Greg hung up. What does Greg, it's so interesting when you're talking to the mentally ill. And I'm serious about this, how they view things. What does Greg think happened in the course of that call? If you're on hold, hang in there. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Oh, that's the cue. It's time to talk to Attorney Barry C. I lost track of time. All right, it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, Brian, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, welcome to February this morning. And so the next big thing coming up that we need to think about is Valentine's Day. It's 2 weeks away, and I know a lot of guys, myself included sometimes, we wait till the last minute to do what we need to do, the cards, the flowers, the candy, the jewelry, whatever it may be. But of course, those are all great things to do for your Valentine. But partially kidding, but also partially seriously, another great thing to do is to make sure that you have your estate planning set up properly. Because really, think about flowers and the candy and all those other things. Those are certainly nice gifts and things. I'm not saying to do instead of the estate planning instead of those things, but really when you say, honey, let's go get our estate planning done, let's get this all taken care of, what are you really saying? You're saying, I want to give you security, I want to give you peace of mind, I want to make sure you're taken care of because I love you. And that is why I am saying this morning that one of the things that you may want to consider as we approach Valentine's Day this year is making sure that you take care of the people you love and giving that gift of security, giving that meaningful gift of peace of mind.
Absolutely. And remember, it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. And, of course, the Siegel Law Group have offices from Boca to Palm Beach Gardens, down south through Broward and Miami-Dade County, and a new office in Naples. But no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help you. Now, the one thing we got out of the pandemic era was people got used to Zoom and such, right? So no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And if you missed that number, just go to their website, SiegelLawGroup.com. And you have an incredible website, Barry. My goodness. That's a very high-tech website. It's out of the budget of Steve Kane's show to put that together. But you got a great website. I appreciate that. All right, SiegelLawGroup.com. Okay, Attorney Barry Siegel will touch base tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Brian.
All right, take care. Back after this.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right. Oh, man. But, the one thing about DeSantis that always kind of cracks me up, right? He takes on Disney over their selling of the trans agenda, yet he just spent 6 months in Iowa wearing high heels shoes. Don't you guys find that a little funny? All right, anyway, our number 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2633. 31. Someone in my YouTube live chat said, does anyone know a divorce lawyer? I know Barry Siegel could probably refer you to someone if you ever guys need a referral to an attorney. I've asked him to refer me to attorneys in the past. So is Steve. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Atlanta, how you doing today, pal?
All right, Ron, what's up?
Yeah, I was listening about the gay guy, James O'Keefe.
No, James O'Keefe is not gay.
I thought you said he went on a gay website.
He went undercover. He was undercover as a gay man and set up a date with the cybersecurity chief of the White House, who is gay.
Let me ask you a question. How did he know that the gentleman was a cybersecurity White House employee?
Because James O'Keefe is an investigative journalist who has a team of investigative journalists who work with him, and they don't just do things randomly. They do a lot of research and investigation and target people to go after.
Targeted this gay guy?
Yes.
Gay guy.
Correct.
So he knew that.
It's called journalism.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm telling. So he knew that this gay guy would be attracted to him, and he worked for the White House before he even approached him, right?
He works at the White House now.
I'm saying, so James O'Keefe knew that this gay guy on this gay website worked for the White House.
Well, I don't know if they knew that he was. Probably their investigative journalism led to finding him with the gay dating thing. Yes.
Do you believe that? That's what I'm saying. But like,
what do you mean? What do I not believe? What do you mean?
He would have to know that the gentleman worked for the White House, right? So why?
Let me tell you something, okay? Anyone who sees or hears this guy talk knows he's gay. It's not a secret, okay?
I'm saying though, but for him to know that the gentleman worked at the White House.
Yeah, they did an investigation.
How would he come up with that from being on the gay website, knowing that this gentleman?
No. No, I don't think you know what you're saying. Okay, let me explain. Okay.
Name the guy?
Yeah, he's in the video. I played the audio. He's in the video.
Give the gentleman's name.
He used an under. Yeah, let me pull it up. It's on Twitter. Okay, hold on. I'll pull up James O'Keefe's tweet. I don't have it right in front of me. You give me a second, I'll look it up. What is going on with the callers today? I'm getting these weirdo callers who think they're making points.
A little bit suspect.
No, his name is Charlie Krager. He's the cybersecurity policy analyst and runs the foreign affairs desk in the West Wing of the White House, which is where the Oval Office is. He's a top-level White House person. Now, what happened is this, okay? James O'Keefe. Everyone knows that Joe Biden is suffering from some type of dementia, right?
Has it been proven? How's
it been proven?
Proven.
You see him on television. He walked the other day. How did he prove? You could only prove something like that by doing a medical examination with a neurologist and doing all kinds of scans and things like this. But you got some common sense. The other day, Joe Biden walked into a bar the other day on a campaign event, went up to the bar to hit on the waitresses and said, "My name's Joe Biden. I work for the government in the Senate." He hasn't been in the Senate in 16 years, okay? And you see him on TV. He's obviously suffering from some type of cognitive decline. Cognitive, it means his brain.
So when Trump got Nikki Haley confused with Nancy Pelosi, he's in the same boat.
You're confusing misspeaking to suffering from dementia.
He said it several times. He said Nikki.
He was talking about Pelosi. Well, do you have evidence? Have you proved that? Have you done a medical examination? So what James O'Keefe decided was, no one's. I'm trying to explain to you what happened with O'Keefe. Just calm down, Atlanta. By the way, I'm not going to make you late for work, am I? Yeah, I know. You own your own business. Yeah, what business is that? What business are you in? Oh, really? What kind of food do you cook?
Any type of clients want.
When you go to work today, what are you cooking?
What you mean, what am I cooking?
When you go to work today, what are you cooking?
I don't go to work. I go to client's house.
When you go to a client's house today, what are you cooking?
Prep meal today.
A prep meal. What are the ingredients?
You mean what are
what are the ingredients? Oh my goodness. It's not protein, it's meat. I hate when people call meat protein. Okay. James O'Keefe decided, James O'Keefe, I'm explaining to you what happened with James O'Keefe, and you can Google a recipe for something and share it with me in a moment to try to keep this cover going that you're an executive private chef. James O'Keefe and his team had decided that they wanted to do an investigative piece on the dementia of Joe Biden, and so they target staffers at the White House that aren't famous, that hang out in bars and stuff. Because it is readily available. If you're an investigative journalist and you are a Washington insider, everyone knows the staffs of all these places. So they saw this guy, they targeted him, they followed him around probably, realized that he's a gay, swinging, single guy. James O'Keefe got on a dating site, I don't know which one. I think he mentions it in the reporting, but I don't remember. It was Tinder or Grindr, probably, and sought the guy out and set the date up. That's all. It's called investigative journalism.
Gentleman up is what you're saying. He stalked them, like you said, and set them up.
He loosened him up. That's not a setup.
Found him and then set him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what meal are you prepping this morning?
I have some chicken, and then I'm going to get
chicken. Those are some basic ingredients. What kind of chicken are you making?
It's a treadmill. It's not a.
If I ordered chicken Kiev, what would be the ingredients of chicken Kiev? I don't know exactly. I'm not the chef. You're the chef. All right. Oh my goodness. You still want to go with that story?
Sure.
That you're a chef?
You go to my YouTube page.
I'm not going to let you give out some guy's YouTube page that you've been searching that does cooking and you claim to be him. Oh, my goodness. All right, appreciate the call. Oh, my goodness. You know, we used to have this one guy who called all the time who said he was a charter boat captain. Remember Doug? That's why Conservative Doug calls himself Conservative Doug, because we had this lunatic Doug. And he said he was a charter boat captain. And then someone that Steve and I know privately got served a subpoena going through a divorce, and he served it to him. And we found out he was a process server. We hit him with it on the air. He's still stuck with he was a charter boat captain. I asked him which side of the boat is port and which side is starboard. 50-50 chance. He didn't know. Didn't know. Not that I know, but I'm not the charter boat captain, right? Oh, my goodness. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You know, that guy held on for about 50 minutes, that last guy, for that call. You'd think he'd be better prepped. Hope he prepares his fake food better. We'll be right back.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Robe Studio. Injured recently? Call the Robe Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700.
Oh, no.
Robe's fighting for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start on this Thursday, February the 1st. So we're looking like we'll hit the lower 70s today, about 73 to 74 after a cool, brisk start. So impact weather for a few hours this morning as we are in the 50s. I'm WPBF 25 morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Major Expressway still looking good this morning in the Palm Beaches. We are accident-free. We're seeing some minor slowdowns on 95 and northbound from Future Beach and Boca. We do have a multi-vehicle crash on Happy Oaks over west of Military Trail. Also on West Palm Beach along North Lake Boulevard to Beeline Highway. Further south on Broward County Turnpike southbound after Atlantic Boulevard, two left lanes blocked by a crash. This report is sponsored by Fresh from Florida. Geoplanning is work, so let Fresh from Florida help. Learn what's in season, browse menus and recipes, and get tips from Chef Justin by visiting freshfromflorida.com. Eat healthier with Fresh from Florida. There's sunshine in every bite. That's right.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Check out the big game party February 11th in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC with a delicious $30 all-you-can-eat buffet, great drink specials, also big prizes including tickets to your favorite team's regular season game next season, and all the super action on over 140 HD TVs. The Paddock is your perfect spot to catch all the OTB and sports over to pbkennelclub.com.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jersey Mike from West Palm Beach.
Hey, Mike.
But let me say something. I went to Jupiter Joe's. He spent an hour and 20 minutes with me in front of his desk going over all of my assets and advising me. That man is very thorough, and he really knows what he's talking about. He has given me some really great advice that I hadn't considered prior to that meeting, and I think that's going to help my life very, very much.
Call Joe Thomas for your free phone consultation and a free copy of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. Online, JupiterJoe.com. Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours at the doctor's office where there's big labs. That's why I go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. Don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
Here's your True Oldies ABC News update.
ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Biden administration negotiators today begin bargaining with Big Pharma for better prices on the first 10 medications. Administration hopes will reduce costs for Medicare beneficiaries.
White House advisors say it will be the first time Medicare won't just pay whatever price a drug company asks. Instead, the Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act is forcing pharmaceuticals to make deals similar to what other countries pay for common drugs, including blood, heart, diabetes, and cancer treatments. The president's saying many Republicans are trying to overturn this law, which he says would then cost Americans millions in higher prices.
ABC's Andy Field. The vote 357 to 70. The House passing and sending to the Senate a $79 billion package of tax cuts. It boosts child care tax, but not to pandemic. No change in the cost of money. The Federal Reserve is leaving its benchmark interest rate where it is. This is ABC News.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products, and we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, go to Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold. Stand by. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve. I'm doing all right. Better than some of our strange callers, I must say. I think they're dealing with some issues. I'm giving them a hard time, and they're not able to process this information. Yep. That's right. The pro, just like those girls that come over to Hunter's house for a few hours, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You know, that last caller with the chef. You know, I love those callers with the fake jobs. I remember once I had a guy. He called in, and I asked him about the job. He told me he was a veterinarian. So I asked him to tell me the names of the bones in a dog's front leg, and he couldn't do it. Now, oh my goodness, I love those calls the best. Those are my favorite. And that guy held on for 50 minutes. And I know a lot of people are saying, 50 minutes? Why? Just because we're not taking calls doesn't mean we're not getting calls. You know, there's a lot, we don't just come on the air and say, okay, here's the number, and then that's not hosting a show, right? That's why we have open phones on Friday. Yes.
See if you know which one I'm talking about.
It says polls are swinging Don's way.
Yes.
And what polls?
Every poll they did. I covered this yesterday. I went through the breakdown. Because we've got new polls now. A new month has started. All the swing state polls, Trump is beating Biden in every swing state. Every one. And some of those he got the Electoral College votes for last time. Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, all the swing states, Trump is leading in the latest polls against Biden. So that's the story. I mean, and that's huge news. Now, Nikki Haley, a couple things on Nikki. If you're on hold, hang in there. Just let me. Well, President Trump yesterday posted to Truth, and this is something you're not going to see in the news. I did not know this. And someone texted this to me. I did not see this, and because there's zero media coverage. This is what I get for not checking the president's comments. President Trump tweeted, and this is something I bet you didn't know, Steve. I didn't know this, and I bet you this hasn't been talked about in the news because I didn't know about it. This is President Trump. Nikki Haley is not on the ballot in Indiana. And the Indiana primary is coming up. She's not on the ballot in Indiana, but he goes on. Nikki Haley is not on. Did you know that? No. I didn't either. And the media blackout. Nikki Haley is not on the ballot in Indiana. This is President Trump's post to Truth Social about this. Okay, this is not me. I'm reading verbatim what the president said on Truth. Nikki Haley is not on the ballot in Indiana because she didn't get enough petition signatures. She missed the deadline. If she's not on in Indiana, she's not a serious candidate. You can't miss Indiana and say you're running for president, said the future senator of Indiana, Jim Banks. So Nikki Haley not only is not on the ballot in Indiana, which is a major state, by the way, she couldn't get on. She couldn't get enough signatures to get on the ballot. That's a big story, and there's a complete media blackout. In fact, I bet you most everybody in this audience heard that first right now, okay? And that's huge. That's huge. Let me take a call or two, and then I got a clip of her saying something stupid yesterday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jersey Mike from West Palm Beach.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike.
You guys are doing a great show again.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning. I can see here you sound a little bit better. You were on today there, I think, huh?
Yes, Steve was not here yesterday.
To tell you the truth, I'm having headset problems this morning.
But I can hear. You can hear. You can hear.
I hear perfect.
Okay.
Very perfect. Okay. Let me say this, Brian. If you want to know left from right in the ocean, port is to the left, starboard is to the right. And the simple way to remember that is port is P-O-R-T and left is L-E-F-T. Simple as that.
Okay, that doesn't help. But I don't need to know it. The guy that called in and said he was a boat captain should know, and he didn't. Just like the guy, just like the fake chef.
Say this, I've been around the world twice, so I know a lot of different places in this world. I can tell you where the cleanest and the dirtiest places are in this world. The point is that, being a seafaring man for those years, then I went into the Navy. I'm a Vietnam era veteran, and I'm just saying to you, I have a love affair with the ocean, and you can have it. I've been in 80-foot seas.
Oh my goodness.
South Africa.
Oh my goodness.
On an empty tanker.
All right.
Million bushels of grain.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate the call, but we're going to. Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting has a booth at the Greek Festival Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Fort Lauderdale. I may stop by, but if I do, it'll be completely random. But if you guys stop by, say hi to Tom Laporta. I love Greek festivals. I tell people I'm Greek. People just don't know because my mom's adopted. She was adopted by the Greeks. So Nikki Haley, she did an interview with Charlemagne de God. Yeah, I know. What an arrogant person. He calls himself the God. D-A, the God. And, a Republican going on there at that stage, that tells you everything, right? But she goes on with Charlemagne de God, and of course, he asks her about her slavery Civil War comment. So let me play this, because she says something stupid at the end, Nikki Haley, but it is Nikki Haley, and she's speaking. So, here's Nikki Haley with Charlemagne de God yesterday.
Also said about the Civil War, you said here in the interview too that it was about tradition versus change. And then they asked you about it earlier this year, and you said it wasn't about slavery, but then you came back and said it was. Why initially didn't you just say, hey, it was about slavery? What happened there?
So the context of that is I've done over 160 town halls, answering every question, shaking every hand. We don't screen anything, all of that. When he asked that question,
Oh, really? She doesn't screen? Nikki Haley, there's an open mic here for you. I'd love to take screenless calls with Nikki Haley on the air. We'll do it real screen. But anyway, she goes on.
Town halls, answering every question, shaking every hand. We don't screen anything, all of that. When he asked that question, I made the mistake of thinking he was trying to ask something else. I could tell that he was not a fan. Mm-hmm. Slavery should have been the first thing that came out of my mouth. I mean, growing up in South Carolina, we all knew that the Civil War was about slavery. That almost seemed too easy. I thought he was asking a harder question, and that's why I didn't say it. It was wrong. I should have said it. I agree, that, but it was just me overthinking that question.
Did you feel stupid that night? And you were like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, because it was so, slavery's a given.
Okay, so she says she feels stupid. She's stupid. She feels stupid. She was stupid. And then she says, well, I did 160 town halls. She's cracked. She's tired. She can't handle the stress, the pressure. Oh, my goodness. Charlemagne to God.
What a great quality in somebody looking to be the president.
Oh, yeah. Somebody that, cracks under pressure, gets exhausted, can't handle questions. Oh, yeah. If we had Nikki Haley in studio, obviously we would ask about that. I think she didn't know, okay? I think she's a stupid person like AOC. I think she grew up in a non-American household. I watched all the Civil War movies, read about the Civil War, read Badge of Courage, and but I don't think she did any of that stuff because she just grew up, and nothing's wrong with this, but she grew up in a home with, her parents are both from India, so she grew up in a very traditional Indian home. So, and I'm sure you're older than me, Steve, you probably have some connections. My grandfather had a pistol that was his uncle's, who was in the Civil War. He was a soldier for the North, not the Confederacy, right? From Ohio, So I have a connection. You probably do too. Others do, but Nikki Haley just didn't know. But that I would ask her about that. Charlemagne to God, but Charlemagne to God, he kind of lets her off the hook. He's not very good. I know he's famous and everything else and nationally syndicated, but he didn't really do. He kind of gave her the answers along the way of that question. I'd have let her dangle out there and explain herself. And then my follow-up question would be, now Nikki Haley, there's people saying, I can't believe this is true, but you had sex with men outside of your marriage? This can't be true, Governor. I would ask her about that in a heartbeat. And I don't think she'd answer the question. I think she'd refuse to answer the question.
Lester.
Oh, yeah. Because if she says no, she just lied. So she might be smart enough not to just lie about it,
I think it would catch her back.
Oh, I'd love to ask. I'd ask that question. I'd ask that question in a heartbeat.
I must say, it's amazing that I listen to watch a lot of television, and I don't see a lot of people confronting her with her affair.
Well, you're watching anti-Trump TV for the most part. I mean, has she been on Newsmax as a guest? I don't think so.
Because I am only listening.
Okay. I don't know if she's done I don't know if she's done interviews on Newsmax with their host. I don't know about that. And on Fox, they hate Trump and love Nikki. So they're not gonna, they're not gonna ask her about that. They'll ask her about her feelings on Iran or something. I don't care what she thinks about Iran.
You retaliated yet?
We're going to soon. Biden's, yeah.
On the 12th.
What is this BS of the White House giving? First, they tell Iran we're going to respond militarily. They even said we're going to hit naval assets, and then they give them all this time to prepare. So the Iranians, whatever things they have, they're going to move, right? So we're going to end up bombing empty buildings, empty docks, or some old ships that they want to, save them from taking them to the scrapyard themselves. I mean, they're giving them forever. We're going to hit you. We're going to hit your naval assets.
To the point where it's embarrassing now. I mean,
Yeah.
I ran home, several days ago was when it was supposed to happen, and I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to listen to the first on the air.
Yeah.
raced home and I turned on my television. I'm still waiting.
No, they'll do it eventually. But now again, I'm not a military expert. Remember, I served in the military for the same amount of time as President Obama and President Clinton combined. Okay, so that's but I just have this. I've seen a lot of war movies. When you're going to attack a country, you don't tell them in advance, and you don't tell them what you're going to target. And they've done both, and then they give them this huge window to prepare for it. That doesn't sound too smart, especially if you're the guys that are making the attack.
Although maybe they've got the right idea. They didn't tell them about it, but they didn't do it.
Let's face it, Iran are the friends of Biden. They're his friends. He's been funding them, since the Obama days, and he's
And I'm sure they're doing some funding with.
Yeah, but
Looking at the rest of his resume.
But you guys out there, I don't know. I know we've got veterans in the audience, right? Is it normal? Is it normal to tell a country, we're going to attack you, we're going to hit your naval? I mean, how many naval assets does Iran have, right? So there can only be a couple spots, and then you give them like weeks to get everything of value. I remember Bill Clinton used to do this with Iraq. And what he would do is he would buy. This is what Bill Clinton did once. There was Iraq did something, I can't remember what it was, and Bill Clinton launched an attack against and this was how Bill Clinton did everything. Okay, he launched an attack and took out the headquarters building of the Iraqi intelligence agency at 3 a.m. when all the generals and planners are at home in bed with their harems. And Bill Clinton killed the janitorial staff of the Iraqi intelligence offices. He would always bomb these places at 3 a.m. when only the janitors were there to be killed, no one important. But he could say, "I was tough. I took out the Iraqi, intelligence building." Yeah, but all the guys were at home. They weren't there, except the janitors. He hated those janitors.
He figures if they don't hurt anybody, maybe they won't get mad at him.
Unless you're the janitor, then you were dead. If you were the janitor at the Iraqi intelligence agency, you were dead. Bill Clinton killed you. All right, listen, we're going to take our break. My name's Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get
Hey, guy, hold on. Oh, okay. I'm mic'd up, Tom. They can hear me on YouTube, so watch what you say. Yeah, they can hear us.
I'm in studio right now with Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton, how'd you do it?
I treated your knee pain with laser. Treatment is simple and...
Oh, I like that. It's good.
Robotic lasers that have a wonderful effect on joint pain. These are all FDA approved.
Now, you don't just help with knees. Tell the listeners what other areas you can help them with.
Any joint I can do. Shoulder pain, hip pain, sciatica.
That's perfect.
Would you say now or like?
Oh, let me read it.
Dr. Appleton is a chiropractic physician, and with the laser away pain system, there's no injections, no surgery, and no drugs. He's
Like,
open 6
yeah.
days a week, and saving
Yeah.
appointments are available.
Yeah.
Call right now for your free consultation.
Also want to say the last time I ran screwed with us, did we bomb their whole Navy?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Should happen.
Exactly. You can record it while I'm on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this doesn't go on air at all. It
Oh,
stays
okay.
on this studio, so that's the good part.
At the old place, that happened a couple times. What's that? Well, I told you my mom's adopted. You can't tell. That's how my grandparents met. My grandmother was a waitress at the family Greek restaurant, and my grandfather used to go there and
You ever
eat.
hear of Jimmy the Greeks in Deerfield?
Yeah, I've eaten there. I remember Jimmy the Greek himself.
The guy that works for me, he used to own that restaurant.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which you see on TV.
Yeah,
Jimmy and
yeah,
Greek,
yeah. But I don't know how to make the Greek food, and my wife's Italian, so we don't have any Greek. So, yeah, Italian's better than the Greek food. It is better. It is better. All right, I'll see you. Yeah. That's Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting. He's recording a commercial.
Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, or adventure together with your best mates in Mexico and Key West this summer aboard the all-new Islander.
Yeah, that's Tom Laporta behind me from Laporta Contracting. Where you hear.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. Call us on hold standby. Tom Laporte is here, Steve. He's in the production room recording a new commercial. He's right behind me. Yeah. He's not behind you. He'd be in your house. If he'd be in your bedroom, if he were behind you. Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. No, but I want to tell everybody, just want to remind everyone, this weekend, Tom Laporta and Laporta Contracting have a booth at the Fort Lauderdale Greek Festival Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you see Laporta Contracting and their booth, Tom Laporta will very well may be there. Stop in, say hi, and tell them you heard about them on the radio. I may stop by over the weekend at some random time. They got beer at the Greek Festival? If they got beer, I'm there. Okay, so I do want to tell everyone, though, about, before we get back into the topics about Dr. Philip Appleton. Steve, I got to tell you, yesterday it was amazing. You know, I got the new TV, and boy, it's heavy. And I wouldn't have been able to pick that TV up if it wasn't for Dr. Appleton ridding me of pain in my shoulder. And it was the first time that I've lifted something that heavy and moved some furniture around in a while, because when I got that injury, I was kind of shy about doing things. You know what I mean? You get like, it hurts, so you don't want to do it. And it was amazing. It felt so good to have my arm and shoulder back, especially the right one. And Dr. Appleton can rid you of pain, too. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give him a call. His number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710, and online, AppletonCairo.com. Let's take a call or two, and we're all messed up on our break schedule. It's my fault, but I do have some stories I want to get to as well. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. You're on the air. Oh, Doris.
Doris, the Tin Lady, how are you?
Well, fine, thank you. How are you? You sound great.
I'm having some equipment problem.
You sound fine to me, Steve. We'll talk about that after the show, I guess. You can't hear? You can't hear? What are you hearing?
And I don't know whether to congratulate you or whether to say shame on you, but you're driving these people right out of their minds.
I mean our listeners, yeah.
I never heard anything like it. And I know how they feel, because when they had the power for the last 3 years, there's many a day I wanted to pull my hair out. When they can't even put the amounts of the scores, Trump leading every state, can't even put that on the paper. You know how they're being nuts. You can hear it in their voice.
Yeah.
So now listen, did you hear Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah. No, she's the current governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
No.
Oh, Nikki Haley.
All love.
We all love. Oh, Sarah Palin. Yeah, I forgot about Sarah Palin.
She was on with Huckabee Saturday night. Did you catch her show?
I did not.
You did not? Well, let me tell you, I know you'd be interested. She is thinking her children are married, or girls are happy, they have families. She has Trig, the handicapped boy. He's with her, and he's doing fine. I guess he's in school, and, he's growing up. And so Huckabee, who loves her, said, are you considering ever getting back into politics? And she said, yes, I am. and she said it in a way, that people applaud.
Well, unfortunately, see, she just got whooped in the. She was running for the House of Representatives in Alaska. They got that weird weighted voting system, which I don't really understand. I don't think anybody does, which is the point of it. I think it's pretty hopeless for her in Alaska. The system hates her there. Anyway, Doris, I appreciate the call. We're late on our break. I got to get us back on schedule. And I apologize for the short segment, guys. That's my fault. I went too long in the previous segment, and we ended up, backed up on our break. So my apologies to that short segment. We'll be back and got a lot more to get into. Don't go anywhere. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're off to an awesome start on this Thursday, February the 1st. So we're looking like we'll hit the lower 70s today, about 73 to 74 after a cool, brisk start. So impact weather for a few hours this morning as we are in the 50s. I'm WPBF 25 First Morning meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
In the Palm Beaches, the major expressways are still crash-free. We just have some buildups now on 95 Heading northbound from Deerfield Beach and Boca. Also, the Turnpike northbound approaching Quincy Beach Boulevard. A broken down vehicle is blocking the left shoulder. We do have a multi-vehicle crash on Military Trail at Southwest 18th Street. Also in West Palm Beach, we have a crash on North Lake Boulevard at the Beeline Highway. Also on State Road 70, just south of Orange Grove Boulevard. Further south into Broward County, Turnpike southbound after Atlantic Boulevard, 3 left lanes blocked once again by a crash. Stopping and going back to Sample. And we have a crash blocking the left lane, 95 northbound before Griffin. This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need for the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. That's traffic number SPAR.
Traffic, a service of
Break
the
back.
Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Pamela restaurant at PBKC.
So you got it all set?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Can you give that to Mike?
Yeah, I'll send it to
And
Mike.
then, okay,
Yeah.
appreciate it. He's the production guy.
Yeah.
We were talking about
A segment like with the message that you're doing and this message, this HOA just called me. She
I'm mic'd
called
up,
me,
just so you know.
Oh, she's
But you
crying.
can talk, it's fine.
She's crying.
Yeah.
And she told the contractor came in and demanded 90% payment after
Oh my gosh.
15 buildings, and they only did 4. And
Oh
they
my
took the
gosh.
roof off the other one and said I need 90% payment.
Oh my gosh. And they left with the money.
This happens all the time.
I've had guys before I knew that I had doing something. They want you to pay in advance, and they'll never pay. Never pay. No. I did it one time on a fence job. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
It's like
There's no reason. I mean, if they're saying I got to buy materials, that means you have no credit. And what are they going to do to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're treating everybody else like that, well, what do I mean to you?
Yeah. And you have no juice over them to come back.
No.
And what are you going to do?
Yeah, we don't want
And they
to
disappear.
Yeah.
Just because they got like a magnetic sign on their that means
See,
nothing.
See, I'm used to working with schools and municipalities, and you
Yeah.
don't get paid until you do. So you do amount of work.
Yeah.
Ask for the money for the work that you did, and they get
Yeah.
you a check.
Yeah. No. Yeah, or I got to get back, but it's good to see you. We'll
You
see
too.
you.
You
All
too.
right, take care.
Yeah,
You
if
can come
you
by
can
anytime.
stop by,
Yeah. If I'm over there, I will, but I don't know if I'll make it. Yeah. Do you know where you're going to be over there? They tell you.
It's right as soon as you walk.
Is it on Las Olas or is it on?
Oh no, it's at the Greek church.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that name.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. All right. We're talking about the Greek festival, so you guys can hear the whole conversation. That's got to be careful. You hear me tell? I always tell people I'm mic'd up. I'm mic'd up. Be careful what you say. That's what you got to do. Unlike Joy Reid, who forgets she's mic'd up.
I need to talk to you after the show about topic.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center, CFO and Director of Neuropathy. I want to welcome you to Lighthouse Medical Center this year. It's our 75th anniversary.
I checked, and I see some of you donated to Baby Luca. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. You know, Doris was talking about Sarah Palin. I just want to mention this because I was going to do this when she was on the line with us, but we didn't have enough time. Sarah Palin's son, Trig, is her child with Down syndrome, who was a young baby when she was running for office. Remember this? And I just tell you how Democrats are, and you'll remember this, Steve, when I bring it up. We would get called. This is back when Sarah Palin was running for vice president. And Sarah Palin's awesome. I love her. They just hate her in Alaska, the establishment. It's like Trump, and she's not electable in Alaska. The establishment up there, they ran her out of the governor's office. It was awful. But anyway, her baby, he was a baby at the time. I guess now he's a teenager or so. It's been a long time, 2008, But he had Down syndrome, and we would get calls on the air from Democrats saying, why would she bring a baby like that into the world? Remember those calls? Why? And that it was a big talking point that Democrats had. Why would she bring a baby like that in the world? Well, I haven't seen Trig, but Doris did. He's a teenager. He's got to be 16, 17, 18 now, and he seems to be doing fine. And they're like Nazis, They got some type of condition, and they want them exterminated. And I'll tell you, it was awful what the left did. Another thing about that, we used to get calls too. These were Democrats, and Democrats in the media would do this with Sarah Palin. She's got a husband and a baby. Why is she running for president? Why is she governor? She should be taking care of her family. And remember that? She barefoot in the kitchen. And then when they found out, just to tell you, what President Trump's going through is the worst. But populist Republicans always go through a lot of garbage. Sarah Palin's daughter was pregnant, remember, during the campaign? She kept it secret in the beginning. And when they found, and she was in high school at the time, I cannot remember the daughter's name. Oh, boy, I cannot remember her daughter's name. She was pregnant during the campaign, and when she made the announcement, she had her family, and they were there with the McCains, and she wore like a jacket. And when the press found out that Sarah Palin's high school daughter was pregnant, they were attacking that girl in the mainstream media, calling her, a slut and do I have to dump slut? Can we say slut, Mike? Okay, slut's okay. Bristol Palin. They were calling her a slut and the W word for prostitute and all this stuff. And I'm not talking about just our callers. I'm talking about the media and the Democrats nationwide. She was pregnant at the time, a 17-year-old girl in high school, and I was afraid that Bristol Palin was going to have a miscarriage over the stress that the liberals were. I couldn't believe the way that the left behaved. It's what Trump's going through is worse because they, obviously, by far. Well, no. But I mean, they got the lawfare cases, but they put Sarah Palin through more than people remember. Then they went out. I remember this too. These Democrats, they see Sarah Palin, like Trump, was not part of the establishment. She didn't go to any of the Ivy Leagues. She didn't have family connections. On her own, she became governor of our largest state, Alaska. It's bigger than Texas, guys, by far. What they did to her and some of the things, they found out that when she was in high school, she dated one of the basketball players. And obvious black basketball player. And the press ran with this because they think Republicans are racist and thought that she would lose conservative support because she had sex with a black man. Remember that? I remember that. What they did, it's not easy being a populist Republican. And Sarah Palin, she really cracked under it. I mean, it destroyed her marriage. There was one liberal reporter who rented the house next door to the Palins and would film them and look out the window all day, and he could see in her younger daughter, who was younger than Bristol's, bedroom, and Todd Palin and his friends went over to Home Depot and bought some fencing and built this fence so the guy couldn't see. What they put the Palin family through was awful. And it destroyed the family because, sadly, Sarah Palin and Todd divorced, and it's just, when you're a Republican who's popular, like Sarah Palin or Trump, they freak, especially Palin. Palin was freaked them out because not only was she popular, she was very good in debate. And while I wasn't that familiar with her when the announcement came, I did see her once on Cavuto prior to her being named to be the running mate, and she was debating some liberal loon about drilling in Anwar. She cleaned that guy's clock like Donald Trump in the first presidential debates in 2016. She's very good. So she was very good in debate, very popular, and hot. And the left had to destroy her because she was a threat. Who do they got, right? Hillary Clinton was their top woman at the time, and we got the sexy, brilliant Sarah Palin. And this whole thing, I can see Russia from my house. First off, Sarah Palin never said that. Tina Fey said that on Saturday Night Live. And what started to happen was the things that Tina Fey said portraying Sarah Palin on Saturday Night Live would be attributed as Sarah Palin statements, And it was. I feel so bad for that family. It's awful. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dave in Royal Palm.
Yes, Dave.
I was thinking that, when you talk about the behavior of the left, it really strikes me as though that whole party attracts the socio and psychopathic kind of people who have no problem. They were mean, killing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is they're turning around, talk about 10 commandment violators and giving false testimony against your neighbor. I mean, this is all they do. They have no problem putting someone through the nightmare of court procedures they know they didn't commit crimes for. They have no compulsion about doing anything like that, but they'll turn around and tell people, you were mean to that person because you said they had pink hair.
Or you used the wrong pronoun.
Yeah, it's like whether it was the Russian Revolution, Nazism, the French Revolution. It means that you throw out some bird calls and you get all the psychopaths there. Yeah, burn it all down, kill everybody.
Mm. The Democrats, yeah.
Conservative.
Yeah, that's true. All right, appreciate the call. Now, I went over this earlier, but this is very important. Fox News is running one of the most fake stories they've run in years. And if you've not seen it yet, you'll see it if you watch Fox today, I promise you. And I picked up on this because I was monitoring Fox to see if they ran the James O'Keefe bombshell, which I'll recap that maybe in the last segment if we have time. But there's Fox News has a story. They're not the only ones running this Fox, but Fox used to be the place we could trust. But this is an example of how they're untrustworthy. This is Fox News headline: Biden tops Trump in new poll. So I did some research and and found the poll, and I found the poll's methodology, which was not easy to find. Okay. I had to do some searching. But Fox News, they did it with last night with, I forgot his name. Who's the comic? Gutfeld was talking about it. Biden's ahead of Trump in this new poll by 6 points. 6 points. And I knew when I saw that story, it's complete BS because I went through all the new polls on yesterday's program that has President Trump beating Biden in every one of the swing state polls. So I'm thinking, where's this coming from? So I pulled up the methodology. The methodology is who they polled. And it was not easy to find, guys. It was not, but I found it. Here's who they polled. They have a breakdown. 27% of those, now this is the poll that they're saying that Biden's ahead by 6 points. They polled out of, remember the greatest of a whole is 100%, right? 27% of those polled were Republican, 27%. 30% were Democrats, so they've already oversampled Democrats by 3 points. 30% were independent, and 13% were other, okay? My experience has been that independents are almost 100, maybe 98, 99%. 98 to 99% of independents are Democrats lying. Sometimes you'll hear it on our calls. A lot of Democrats lie about being Democrats because they know as a Democrat they have no credibility, okay? So they have basically they have 73% Democrat and 27% Republican. And they're saying, well, they don't give you, when they give you the story on Fox, they don't go through the methodology like I just did. They just say, Biden's ahead of Trump 6 points in the latest poll. Well, yeah. 73% of the people you interviewed are Democrats. 27% are Republican. Of course he's ahead, but only by 6 points in a poll of 73% Democrat of the surveys. I mean, this is criminal. It's journalistic malpractice. The poll is not a credible poll, and no credible news organization would knowingly broadcast it unless they purposely did it to spread propaganda because Trump's winning in all the new polls that came out the day before yesterday. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take a break and be right back.
Cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. This is Brian Craig, and I'm here to tell you about Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation West LA and hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is all natural. What it does is restore your hormones.
Now, guys, give me a yes or no. Have you seen the James O'Keefe story on any of the cable news yet? Any of the cable news? Have they run the story?
Mood swings gone. Night sweats gone. I've met listeners before and after hormone replacement pellet therapy with Dr. Matez, and when I first meet him, they're like Joe Biden.
Because I'm going to recap that story. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And everybody, please like the video. No, all knows. Wow.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them.
I'm going to recap it in the last segment.
Access to a healthcare advocate at the touch of a button. Would that make life easier for you? You can with I Will Advocates. I Will Advocates will help you set up doctor's appointments, help with your pharmacy, even deal with your pharmacy.
Baby Luca is the baby of Mike, our board op's best friend, and if you can help with Baby Luca, please do. I put the link to their GoFundMe there pinned to the top of the chat. I know a lot of you have donated during this program, and that is greatly, greatly appreciated.
I Will Advocate clients are family, and they go to bat for their family when you need them the most. Call Debbie at I Will Advocates right now. Toll free 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. Brian Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call
I know, sad story.
LaPorta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, LaPorta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors
contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's
Who's really independent? That's just
What are
BS.
you doing with your money? Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a permit, and HOAs, much longer. If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, and I'm going to, Steve, in this last segment here, I want to recap the biggest story of the day, and we don't have enough time for me to get into the total details, but if you go back and listen to the first half hour of the program, I broke it all down in incredible detail. But William Youngerman is not with us today. He'll be back next week, so you get the amateur gold report, which is me going to WilliamYoungerman.com and reading the numbers to you. But you'll get the professional gold report when William Youngerman is back next week. But gold is up another $1.30, Steve, at $2,041.20. Oh, my goodness. Silver down 32 cents at $22.69. Platinum down 15 at $913, and palladium down 28 at $976. But I just want to talk about William Youngerman. William Youngerman has been with us here on the Steve Kane Show for at least 15 years, at least. I know he started around the time of Hurricane Wilma. So whenever Hurricane Wilma was, he joined us right after that. So I think we're getting towards 20 years. And I remember after Hurricane Wilma, we did not have electricity through large parts of the area for a couple of weeks. And William Youngerman, while the banks were closed and the ATMs had no power, he was open, and people were able to do transactions and everything and get through a very difficult time because William Youngerman was open. And if you had gold or silver, he could give you cash when the banks were closed and the ATMs didn't work. Remember that? It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And, gold, silver, the precious metals serve so many purposes we talk about. But with William Youngerman, we've been through weather events, natural disasters, plagues now, And during difficult times, William Youngerman is there. In fact, Steve, remember all the banks were shut down during COVID? Remember all that? William Youngerman was open. And you were able to do your business. You were able to get money. You were able to do transactions during the pandemic closures, during the natural disasters, no electricity during the hurricanes. And that's one of the things that the metals are about, protecting you during these difficult, impossible times. He opens up at 10 a.m. Now, he's not with us this week for the report, but that doesn't mean he's not open. He is. And William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can give him a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, and his address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road in Boca. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the capsulized version of the biggest story of the day, and no one's reporting it on television, with James O'Keefe's latest bombshell. But again, if you go back and watch the first 30 minutes of today's show, I go through incredible, minute detail on this story, okay? We have, courtesy of James O'Keefe, the first White House official confirming that Joe Biden has dementia. And I know what you're saying. Well, we all know he has dementia. Now we have a top White House official not only confirming that he has dementia, but that everyone in the White House talks about it all the time. And what had happened was Charlie Kirk went undercover as a gay man looking to hook up. And he went on one of the dating apps, either Grindr or Tinder. Can gays go on Tinder? They didn't have these things when I was a single guy. I just had a microphone and a radio, to broadcast from. I'm single, lady, But that's how I met my wife. My wife was a listener of the program, so I met my wife. But anyway, James O'Keefe, he went undercover as a single gay man looking to hook up, and set up a date with Charlie Krager. Charlie Krager is gay. He's the cyber security policy analyst and runs the foreign affairs desk at the White House in the executive offices, which is the West Wing. So he's the top cybersecurity person at the White House, and he's also in charge of the foreign affairs desk. So this isn't the secretary of something. It's not one of those names but he's a senior person with senior security clearances and has access to all and regular interactions with all the top people at the White House. Okay? And he said to James O'Keefe while he was trying to get James O'Keefe in bed, and James O'Keefe has all this on audio and video, he said that not only does Joe Biden have dementia, everyone at the White House is very concerned about it. He said that they tried to drop Kamala from the ticket, but they couldn't drop her because she's black and a woman. And that Joe Biden and Kamala are going to be the nominees, no one else. And Michelle Obama said no, that she said no. And I'll go through the bit of the transcript. I don't have time to play the audio. The audio is not too clear for the radio. And I did play the audio. It's a 13-minute tape. I played a brief section of it. But I'm going to read the transcript from the clip that I played. This is the transcript of James O'Keefe on his gay date. I'm just telling you what I've heard. They're really concerned about it. I think they need to get rid of him or her. This is James O'Keefe. And then the White House official says to James O'Keefe, not knowing it was James O'Keefe, but no one in modern history has ever said, we're not going to renominate the president for a second term. Charlie Krager, a cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs desk officer in the executive office at the White House, tells James O'Keefe, quote, I had a meeting with Michelle Obama. Someone asked her, will you run? She says, no. I've seen all the blank, she used the S word, I've seen all the blank my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me. He was in the room when Michelle said that. Then he goes on to say, Kamala hemorrhages black staff. She can't keep black staff. They quit on her en masse. This is all on tape. She will be the vice president nominee. There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they didn't. She's not popular, but you can't remove the first black lady to be vice president from the blank presidential ticket. Okay? What kind of message are you going to send to African American voters? People would be like, what the blank? He uses the F word there. Like she's a woman and she's multicultural. And James O'Keefe said there's more coming. But this is the first confirmation that Biden has dementia, and it's getting worse from a White House official. See, this is different than us watching on TV and saying he's got Alzheimer's. This is a person who works inside the place where he works, right? The White House. Senior level official with the highest of security clearance, and he says everyone's talking about it and is concerned about it. So now we have a White House official, a senior White House official, who has confirmed what we've seen on television. Now you can send him a subpoena and bring him in for questioning.
It's not going to stay hidden long.
It broke yesterday. It broke yesterday afternoon. I tried to call you about it, but you weren't taking my calls, Steve. I kept getting rejected. So, but I don't know. Did you block me on your phone?
No, but it's a long story that I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay. But I was trying to call yesterday with this story, but it broke online yesterday, and the internet was going wild about it. To my knowledge, it has not yet been on Fox News, and I did a survey in our YouTube live chat room during the break. No one has seen it on Fox. Well, it broke on the internet yesterday by James O'Keefe, but on the radio and far as TV goes, I broke the story, yes, in this type of media. But this is a massive story, and there's a complete cover-up. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. He's our retirement expert here at True Oldies, and let me tell you, you want to call him. Okay, talk to him about annuities. You know, I'd heard people talk about annuities all my life. I did not understand them until I met Joe Thomas. And, you know, he called in the other day, and I learned that there's different types of annuities for different purposes. Of course, you know, with annuities, you're not risking your money like you are in the stock market. Your money's safe, so you won't be losing money, and you can generate income too, which is an amazing thing. But there's different types of annuities for different purposes. Call Joe Thomas. He'll walk you through all of that. It's absolutely amazing. And it's not one and done, Joe said. You can have multiple annuities, and maybe you should, depending on what your retirement goals are. Now, Joe Thomas, he's been in the retirement business for over 30 years. He's a top expert in the field, and he's offering free phone consultations with listeners of this program, as well as free copies of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. I'm going to give you Joe's number. Set up that free phone consultation, and you can have that free phone consultation no matter where you are located. You don't even have to be in Florida. No matter where you are in the United States, Jupiter Joe Thomas can help you. His number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. If you missed that number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, not much time left, but let's see if we can get a quality call. You're on the air.
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, 30 seconds, Brian.
30 seconds, Brian. That is a very big story, a great story. I really admire James O'Keefe. But you know, Brian, it's always good to get inside information on what we already know and what we're already thinking.
Well, no, it's not information. It's evidence and eyewitness testimony. You understand? Eyewitness testimony and evidence. That's different than innuendo.
And I'm going to put this guy in for try and put him in for another 4 years. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We're getting ready to bomb Iran. If he has dementia and can't do it, whoever is doing it is illegally bombing Iran, and they're committing murder.
Yes.
It's an illegal military action. All right, we're out of time. I'm sorry. You're right at the end. No more calls. All right. Now we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday already. Can you believe it? That means open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. You're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's program. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. God bless America, and, of course, God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow.
WSFS 104.3 HD3
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe before you go. And if you're already subbed, like the video, guys, please. All right? It helps a lot. All right, take care. I will